Hi, good morning. It's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, the good stuff is coming later on today at some point with regards to, us pulling the SD cards out of the Trimag and the magnetosphere sensor. I just felt I needed to do this video. Before we get into it, I just want to say a big thanks to all those people that have been supporting over the last couple of days. Been hard times here, so big thanks to Alex. Again, brother, you've pulled me from, drowning. And Susan, I got your message, and it's good to hear that you're going to stay with us. And I'm going to stay with all of you guys, shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot. We'll walk through this together. I've been unfortunate, and some would say, Gene, you can't look at it as unfortunate, because it's quite a blessing. I don't know what it is. I always seem to find the solution. I don't think it comes from just me. I think I do get a little bit of help from this universal conscious from time to time. You might have recalled, and before I go into this, so we'll hold it on that, you might have recalled me talking about the algorithms of YouTube, but I would just mention this, watching the Ice Age Farmer Christian today talk about, there being a new threat that would make COVID-19 look like, a flea or a tick on a raccoon's ass. All I can say is that, of course, there's going to be a big problem being created. And, there are many facets to all these things that I'm going to talk about. It's very hard to stay on track with just one, but to give you a general picture of all the things that are going on. We've got people that are just out to exploit the system, that work in the system, the ministers, congressmen, the lobbyists, and it's in their interest to come up with ideas that they can generate wealth from. And, cyber attack is a perfect one, isn't it? COVID-19 is a perfect one. And they're threatening now that the next problem we're going to face is a cyber attack, which is going to shut down, the global systems and everything else that reigns in with it. And can you imagine if you are convincingly enough to a government to ask for money so that you can build a defence for that government, how easy it would be to realise that if there was no threat to start with, then you could easily just, drain the pot of money of taxpayers' earnings, and taxpayers' money out of that pot into your hands, and then spread it between the friends. What I'm saying is that there's a plausible problem that they present, but when it comes down to, is it actually the case? Is this cyber attack actually a case where that money is warranted to be injected, and who is the person as well that is going to come up with the cyber attack that's going to create the problem? We're talking about some spotty teenager in the basement of his mum's flat that's got a big jar of lollipops by the side of him as he bangs away at the keys, and he's some kind of computer freak nerd that is somehow mathematically genius. Or is it just nothing? Because I can't see the threat coming from countries like Afghanistan, Iraq and places like that. I just don't think that they have the education or the money to do it. I don't know how these organisations, these terrorist organisations, get their funding. Who is it that funds them? And, we have seen black ops where, filtered money from governments have been put into the hands of, potential terrorists. When they've had the money, they have become actual terrorists and committed atrocities. It's then blew up in the media and therefore created a vacuum where we've needed to support it. I could go on and on and on. But the point is what this threat that is supposed to be coming to face us all now is an easy way for an extraction of a lot of taxpayers' money into wealthy people's hands, just like COVID-19 is. And if you think people aren't earning money at the top, think again. But what we're seeing is more ruthless actions. They don't care when they put families in the gutter and good human beings in the street. When they see the hard work of good people that have invested 20-30 years in a business, and even longer than that, guys. In some cases, these are family businesses that have been run for 100 years and passed down generation after generation. And just to mention just a couple of those, we look at the farmers. Their lands are passed on to the children. Farming is like a genetic gene that is almost passed down. The son of the farmer, he goes out and he learns to drive the dad's tractor. He finds it exciting, and he gets drawn into that life. And it's a hard life, but what I'm saying is that these people don't care about the hard earnings, first of all, that these people make, and the work and sweat and blood that they put into their jobs. They are very much happy to see it destroyed. Now, I'll get back to where I was talking about with YouTube and the algorithms. I did say I was going to look into them and try and find how the algorithms work. I think I've not only done that, but actually discovered something else, something very big. And I've realised that it's not just YouTube that will have made this mistake, but a lot of the big companies. I'm just going to mention one of them, Swift. Now, if you know what that company deals with, all your credit card transactions and international overseas transactions, it's got a big problem, and I proved it with Swift a couple of weeks ago. Well, in fact, it was proved to me. What they seem to have done is not only in the transaction of where funds are being taken out of an account. Now, just to give you a quick rundown, I don't want to bore you about how these things work, but obviously somebody has to have funds in their account before they can transfer them to another account. So what happened with me is I raised a concern with my bank account that there had been a company, Amazon, taking funds out. Every time I ordered something, it seemed to put me on Amazon Prime and take around about £8 or £9 out. And as a result of that, I didn't want the Prime. I just wanted to buy the object off Amazon, but it automatically just took the money because it got my credit card details. So I rung up my bank, I explained the problem to them. They said, don't worry, we'll send it back. But what the person done, and I don't know why he'd included this bit of code, but when he included this bit of code, I instantly, as a programmer, recognised the code. I didn't know the exact extent, but I knew that this was the trigger code to create the problem. What happened then after then was I received 80 refunds within probably 1.2 seconds. And the reason why it stopped after that point is because I recognised there was also a mechanism that if a repeated account transaction happens more than once, then eventually it's going to get stopped. But when you're dealing with processing speeds of the types of computers that Swift use, 80 transactions in a second is not going to be a problem. I'm not going to mention what that code is, but I will just say it is less than 15 numerical and alphabetical and a couple of other symbols in there, because I know that if you was probably to use that on YouTube, the same error would occur, but it could occur at an alarming rate because we don't know what the shut-off point is of YouTube algorithms, but they've made the same problem. And the reason why they've done that is because the programmer was asked at a later point to also include something else. I'll give you, for instance, with Swift, the problem is that not only is it checking how much people's got in their account first of all before they can make that transaction, it goes to that person's account, they check the account where it's going to, it's secure. Yes, the money's there, it can be transferred, it goes into that person's account. What they also did was include the message now, because they're being nosy, and this is a problem of their own success. They also wanted to include information about the message that was sent alongside with the transaction, and this is where that person entered that little bit of information. Probably to him it was nothing, but he didn't realise that it was programming language, and it also triggered another offence. And the reason why it triggered the response it did to deliver, and I'll tell you the amounts in a minute, guys. It was only really tiny amounts, but you know, when I looked at my statement, it was like 80 transactions within a second, and there was all for like 15p, 26p, 30p, 40p, a pound, you know, silly amounts of money. I think the whole lot amounted to less than £50, but you know, there was 80 of these transactions in that time period, and I recognised what was causing the problem. And I don't know if they know about it. I really don't know if they know about it. But what they've done is, for efficiency, they've used the same algorithms that checks the accounts, that also checks the message. But the problem is when it checks the message, it doesn't decipher whether it's human language, because I don't know how well the artificial intelligence is checking what people are saying. Like, I mean, you could send £5 to me, Gene, good luck buddy, I'm with you, and that's it. But what this guy sent from the bank was it wasn't even readable to most people. I instantly recognised it as a bit of code, and I reckon it was that triggered the response of the 80 mistakes after then. I mean, it's a shame it wasn't like, you know, firing £1 million into my account every time. Otherwise, I'd have been drinking cocktails now with you guys, and not worrying about being in my overdraft, and not being, you know, in the red in all my credit cards. Well, I've only got 2 anyhow, but you know, I'd have definitely been enjoying life. But there is a problem, and you know, they have done the same thing with YouTube algorithms. You know, not only are the algorithms checking IP addresses and this, that and the other, for convenience, the programmer has added extra responses to the algorithm, and they probably haven't shut the door down on, you know, active code, you know, interfering with the actual running of the program. You know, this sometimes is going to cause problems. You know, I just want to say this, you know, if I was a naughty boy, let's just say that, I would share the program, the piece of the code that I'm talking about, with you guys, and I know that it'd be flagged straight away, because, you know, can you imagine the damage that this could do? And this is a problem where, you know, a company has built a program to look after its entire infrastructure, and hasn't safeguarded itself against, you know, the other tasks later on that it's asked the program to do. And as a result of that, now you can put a piece of programming code in things like a description with a money transaction, and you can cause problems. Like I say, if I was naughty, I'd show everybody it. But you know, I this is why I say, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm picked on by this universal conscious. You know, I think I'm helped. You know, the answers come to me, and I share them with you guys. It's like, you know, we are solely dedicated to one event. And you know, 10 years ago, you know, I was concerned a little bit with, you know, the Mayan prophecy and what all this was leading to. I genuinely felt that a society that had dedicated itself to, you know, a specific date in the future would definitely know something that was going to take place at that point. And 2012 rolled in and rolled out, and I know what some people would say, well, the Gregorian calendar's off, you know, we've changed the calendar system, it might not even have arrived yet. Well, regardless of that, you know, I looked at everything that was going on pretty much with our planet, with our sun. At that time, you know, we was only just starting to see the effects of 2 solar cycles going to the grand solar minimum, and now we're in the 3rd. So, you know, I would say if it's hit the target 3 times, then we're definitely there. So we've got a problem with our sun, as you guys know, but we've also got a rare event that not many people know about, which is the geomagnetic reversal, which we're in right now, and have been confirmed by all these big organisations, you know, for the last 100 years. And in recent times, as you guys know, this thing has been migrating at faster speeds, covering more distance in shorter space of time. As a result, we are seeing dramatic changes in the last 30 years to our climate. It should not come as any surprise, and most of us should see it as synchronicity taking place. But I will just say this, we are all part of a plan. I'm gonna round the video off here, guys, by the way, and a bit later on I'll whip the SD cards out. But we are all part of a plan, and we're in it together. We are isolated on this planet, and we are all part of the plan, and the plan is taking effect. And it's not always going to be good things. I think we have stretched the elastic band a little bit, and if we let go, it's going to come back to its form. And what we've done in recent times is push them boundaries, which is against the plan. And the plan has a fail-safe system in place where it allows this elastic band to take back its form and its course. And that's where we are right now, and we have got some difficult times ahead, guys. But you have to remember this, is that it is a beautiful plan, and it has been around for millions and millions of years. And we're just a teeny little bit a part of it, but very much still, if we was not part of this, then the plan would not exist from this point on, because there would this hole that if one of us was removed wrongfully out of the plan, or by or a lot of us were removed out of the plan, there would be massive holes appearing in this plan, and it'd eventually break down. The universe, I believe, would collapse. So I know these concepts are hard to believe. I don't believe by any mistakes that I'm given sometimes really difficult tasks, and I've got a couple of other things on the back burner which you guys aren't aware of, and that's because they are personal. But even with those, I see the purpose of those things. They're not pleasant things, but I see the purpose, and I understand that I have been given opportunities. And I don't even say that lightly. I know that I have a purpose. There's no mistakes that I had been given one morning an equation that I have demonstrated to you guys. There's no way of that. That is such a powerful equation, and has been tested by some really smart people, and they scratch their heads, find it very unique. And like I say, there's no mistakes about it. So some of us, I believe, will get given opportunities to participate a little bit more than others in this plan. And I suppose some would describe it as the design or the divine plan. I don't know how some of you guys would describe it, but by my experiences, there's just nothing coincidental about it. The things I talk about, pretty much a lot of the time, things that a lot of other people aren't talking about. The equations, as far as I'm aware, not being demonstrated by anyone else. So just to round it off, and briefly now, I'll try and end this, because obviously I know a lot of you are mainly interested in what's coming later on in the next video. But just to round it off, we are going through some difficult times. There is a plan, and it's not going to be easy, because we have stretched this elastic band that needs to come back into alignment with its natural form. And we are going to see that happen, and I'll guarantee you this: these people that have put the conscious in the closet have got no other opportunity but to conform to the plan at some point, and it is going to be just a wasted effort on their part if they are taking us away from the plan that was originally put in place. All I'm saying is that all they're going to do is cause a lot of hardships, as we're seeing right now. But I got a good feeling about it. In the end, I got a good feeling. I think, after this, we do sit down and we learn from it, and we change our path. We get online with the plan and we work with nature. That's what I believe. And you've got to admit, guys, these are exciting times. This is an exciting year. A pandemic, and then the threat of cyber attack. I will just say this: that pandemic will cause something else. It might affect and make ill, only 0.5% of the world's population, but it will put the other 99.5% of this population in a Great Depression. That's what we've got coming next, so bear that in mind. And I will end this video here, guys. I'm glad you're with me, and I am equally with you. And if you want to support our efforts here at the Observatory, there's a link down there. Again, many thanks to those over the last couple of days that have stopped me drowning, so to speak. So I'll say what I usually do. Video coming later on for the latest pole position and the magnetosphere strength, and we'll be back on topic. Guys, you have a great afternoon. I'll speak to you later. As always, bye for now.